Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another video here on Tide Drives. This is the 2022 Volvo S90 in the B6 powertrain with the Inscription trim level. Very, very stately looking car here. Really, just a very good looking car here. In this video, we're gonna go take a walk around it, show you all the features on the exterior. Then we'll move our way under the hood and discuss some powertrain options, because there are two. And then we will make our way to the cargo area. And we'll see what's going on in there. Very big trunk. And finally, move our way into the interior, starting with the rear seats. There's quite a bit of features back there too, this being the larger of the two Volvo cars that are produced. And finally, we'll make our way to the front seats, but you're going to want to stay around to the end of the video. So I'm going to strap this GoPro on my head and we're going to see how the 2022 S90 drives. Before we get started, I'd like to thank Valenti Volvo Cars of Watertown, Connecticut for giving me this car for a little while to film around it. And we'll start with the details up here with the headlamps. So of course, full LED headlamps as standard. You have the high beams, low beams, running lights, and turn signals are all LED powered. Look very nice when they're on. You also have headlamp washers and parking sensors that span the front bumper. You also have some pretty neat looking LED fog lamps up front and down below. Pretty good use of chrome on this vehicle, and that is a big factor in the very nice looks of this vehicle. Just a kind of a formal looking car. We have the typical Volvo grille, and just below the emblem we have a camera for the 360 view. Nice long hood with some pretty cool creases that go down the side. And another contributing factor to the very nice looks of this car are the wheels. So on the Inscription, this is what you get. And they are sort of a machine finish bicolor wheel setup, and they measure up at 19 inches. So a little bit of a smaller wheel, but that improves the ride quality. And these wheels are wrapped around 255/40 tires. As we look down the side, surrounding the windows and down on the bottom of the doors is more chrome trim. You can see the double sunroof up top with the shark fin antenna. We also have blind spot warning and also cameras underneath the mirrors, and they are power folding. We of course have smart key entry, so just press the little pad right here to lock, and hands behind the handle to unlock. And again, that's for all four door handles. I'm going to step back a bit so that you could see that this is a pretty long vehicle here. I believe for the first model year that the S90 came out, I believe it was 2017. A lot of them were short wheelbases, but then for the next year they switched to all long wheelbases, so that's pretty cool. Some revised taillights back here, which are pretty nice looking. They also kind of like fade on and off when you unlock the car, and so that's a pretty cool feature. But all LEDs back here, brake lights, tail lights, reverse lights, you name it, all LED powered. Again, parking sensors back here, and there are also sensors to the side that aid in your automatic parking assist. Hidden exhaust tips. We have the rear view camera, and also a trunk release right above the L. We have B6 all-wheel drive powertrain badging, and just a very good looking car. One thing I'd like to point out is the window sticker. We get a quick look at that. You can definitely pause the video to get more information, but pretty much the options we're working with are the lounge package, which gives you some really cool features like massaging seats, a totally different rear armrest, and ventilated rear seats. We have the climate package, advanced package, and that pretty much does it. And the sticker price for this vehicle is $60,640. Pretty good bang for your buck if you ask me. You can also see the parts content and fuel economy. All right, checking out what's under the hood. First of all, very large hood, and it opens very tall, so you have a pretty big opening. What we're working with is the B6 powertrain, and that means we have a 2-liter turbocharged and supercharged inline 4, and it also has a 48 volt mild hybrid assistance system that aids with the start-stop system and keeping the air conditioning and radio going while you're at a stop sign with the combustion engine turned off. So that's cool. Power figures are bumped up, so we actually have 308 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. That's pretty good figures for this car. Now you can also get the T8, which is a sort of plug-in hybrid, and that improves the power figures quite a bit. It also makes the car weigh a little bit more too, but that's pretty cool that they give you the option. Everything's very neat and tidy under here, and it is connected to an all-wheel drive system. And we also get the 8-speed automatic transmission. And you can see the hood latch is right over here, color-coded in yellow. Taking a look at the cargo area, thanks to the advanced package, we have a full powered trunk lid, so that's pretty cool. Lots and lots of room back here. Take a look at that. So there is quite a bit of room back there. It goes in very deep. Not the biggest opening in the world, since obviously this is a sedan, but once you get your stuff in there, you'll have plenty of room. We have some extensions off to the side with the net. We have little grocery bag hangers, and once we lift up the cargo floor, we have a spare tire. So that's pretty cool. Once we're done in here, we have a couple of buttons, one to close the trunk and lock the vehicle, and one to just close the trunk. Okay, so I went ahead and turned the vehicle on so we could show off all the features that this vehicle has to offer, because there is quite a bit in the back here that require the vehicle to be running. Back door is very nice with the contrast color to the exterior, so that's pretty cool. Really nice, sort of a light tan color. We have nice natural grain wood, chrome accents, and just very nice materials on the rear door. We have a switch right here for the windows, but also it doubles as the sunshade button, so that's pretty cool. And you also have a little openable storage tray there. You can put small things like change. Very nice seats in this vehicle too. Same color as the door rests, but it gives it a nice contrast with a dark colored exterior. We also get nice stitching and things like that, and we can also fold these rear headrests down flat so that you have better visibility out the back. Now this is the optional sort of armrest that we get with the lounge package. If you open up the lid, you have some wood surrounding it and extra storage in there. And then you can also open this part up, which has cup holders. So it's a very nice addition to the lounge package. And once you fold it up, it becomes a third seat. Hopping in back here, since this is technically a long wheelbase car, there is lots and lots of legroom. Take a look at that. So I would say, I don't even know, maybe close to a foot of legroom back here for someone that's my size, which is about 5'10", and I have this seat adjusted like so. Back here on the center console, you can see we could have climate controls, also controls for your heated and cooled seats in the back, so you don't see that too much. Heated and cooled seats in the rear. And then you also have climate controls, so you could adjust the temperature down here and fan speed, so that's pretty cool. A couple of air vents down below, and a couple of USB-C chargers and a 12-volt. Definitely enough room back here to sit a third passenger, and they give you the extra seatbelt to do just that. On the other side, you notice that there's quite a bit more buttons than on the driver's side. So we have, this is pretty much the seat to be in if you're being driven around this vehicle, because we have controls for either side, windows and sunshade back here, and also the rear sunshade that's behind our head. So once we press that, the sunshade will pop up for the rear. does a good job of covering everything back there too. We also have sunroof controls and sunshade controls, so that'll open and close the sunroof and sunshade, which is really awesome. And we also have controls here for the front seat right here, for the front passenger seat. So you can kind of move this around, give yourself some more leg room and whatnot. That is a pretty cool feature. Lots of very high-end luxury cars have that, but this car also has it at only $60,000. We have grab handles up here, LED lights, and very nice panoramic sunroof up here as well. All right, now we can take a look at the front seats. All right, and finally, the front cabin of the S90. Now, everything in this vehicle is just very nicely appointed, whether it be the stitching, the wood accents, all the metallic accents. It's just a very nicely put together car. As you can see, same design as out back, just a few more buttons. And we have powered controls for the child locks, which is pretty awesome. We also have two-person memory for both passengers up front. The lock-unlock buttons, the powered mirror controls, and the rest of your windows and things like that. You can also control the window, the rear window shades by pressing these buttons again, so those will go up and down, which is pretty cool. This also has the Harman Kardon audio system. You could step it up to the Bowers & Wilkins for quite a bit of an extra fee if you'd like, though. On the left of the dash, we have the air vent, a little bit of wood, gauge dimmer, and trunk release. And if you also look underneath, you could see the release for the tilt telescoping steering wheel. You also have a little pouch here to put whatever you like little brochures or things. And our pedals are down below. Nice stainless steel tread plate right here. Very, very adjustable seats. And once we get inside, I'll get to show you the full range of adjustments. But we also have our regular power here, the lumbar controls. And you can also get more controls, and they'll pull up on the screen, and it kind of doubles. And you can adjust the rest of the seat using the lumbar controls. And I'll show you how that works in just a minute. So here's the key for the S90, fairly traditional Volvo key with the emblem on the back. Physical keys on the inside. If you just slide this over, the key will kind of come apart, and the physical keys on the inside in case you need it. We have lock, unlock, trunk release, and panic alarm to the other side. And we of course have the sort of twist button ignition. Now it's kind of funny with this vehicle having the mild hybrid setup. The starter, I'm not even quite sure if there is an actual starter to turn the engine. It just kind of turns on, and it's a kind of a funny noise for us car guys. But take a look at the steering wheel. Very nice leather wrapped, smooth, glossy black buttons make a very nice appearance. And all of the controls over here has to do with mainly the audio, so the audio volume, skipping between the different tracks, voice commands, and also a configurable button for the screen up there. And then this all has to do with the adaptive cruise control. Behind the steering wheel, we have a couple of stalks. This one for all of your lighting, turn signals, front and rear fog lights, and also one for your wipers to the other side. And then we also have our gauge setup. So new gauge setup for 2022. Some of the Volvo models have it, some of them don't. This one does. So if we press the button over here, it'll kind of expand what's in the center, and that is the Google Maps setup. Take a look at how cool that looks. So that's pretty awesome. You can also go through a couple of different menus here. If you press the sort of central button right here where my thumb is, and it'll kind of go through some trip settings and things like that. Although it's not that configurable, it's a very nice looking gauge setup. It's crystal clear resolution and has just enough things in here that, it's not so overwhelming. And you also have the little warning for the lane keeping assist and your gas level down below. So Nothing too crazy in the speedometer, but it is a very good looking setup. Leather dash up here, which is very nice. You also have heads-up display, which is currently displaying the current speed of the vehicle, the speed limit on the road that you're on, and it'll also pop up with the navigation directions if you have the navigation active. So we have a center channel speaker up there. Just a very nice looking dash with the leather. And that brings us down to the new infotainment system. So this is a Google-based new infotainment system. Again, very simple. You can't go too in-depth with the system, but I think that's a good thing. So it just kind of keeps things simple. We can start by swiping down from the top. We could kind of log in, log out to different user settings, which is pretty cool. And then we can also have the Google Maps up here, which you got to go through all your privacy settings, so we won't do that now. And we also have the radio screen, which is pretty nice. All of your presets will pop up over here if you click, and then we have all of the different channels. You can also press the currently playing, which is pretty cool. We have the phone screen and then sort of a voice commands right here. And you can also swipe to the side to get a few different other things on various ones of these menus. But down top, or down bottom I should say, is where you really get all of your stuff. So you kind of press this, it'll give you a different home screen. We press that, your cameras will pop up. Press this over here, that'll control your cooled and heated seats, plus the heated steering wheel. Then we also press this sort of button, acts as a home button. We press in the center, and that will bring up your climate control. So we have the defrosters up top, fan speed in the center where you want the air to blow, temperatures, and a little sync button in the center. You also have shortcuts for defrosters on physical buttons down below. Then we also have one more tab which has to do with all of the settings. So over here we can configure some of your safety systems and steering feel, and you can see that. That's pretty cool. Going back, we can customize our sound settings with the Harmony Kardon sound system. So that's pretty cool as well. We have connectivity, applications, different profiles, and controls. So we can turn the wireless phone charger on and off and various things like that. But again, it's a pretty simple system. You can no longer like swipe back and forth and get different menus. It's all kind of right at your fingertips right down there. So a bit more simple, but I think it looks quite a bit better as well. Taking a look down below, we have a small array of buttons for your hazards, skipping for the radio, play, pause, and the audio volume. Down here is a very nice looking sort of center console. We have the leather with the stitching, the nice wood, the Auraforce crystal gear shifter, which is just beautiful. A couple of storage trays. You could put some pens and pencils. There's also a 12-volt power outlet. And if you open this one, you get a couple of cup holders and the wireless charging pad. Gear shifter for the 8-speed automatic transmission. Like I said earlier, you can bump it down into drive twice, goes into drive, and up once into neutral, up again into reverse. And that is where we will see our backup camera. Take a look at the resolution. Just a very nice looking backup camera, and you could kind of press right here to get your 360 view, and then press up front if you'd like to see up front, or on the sides if you'd like to see the side as well. So that's pretty cool. Then we also have the P for park, of course. We have the engine start stop right there, the electronic parking brake, so you pick up to activate, press down to deactivate. And then we also have an auto hold feature, which is pretty nice. Nice lid to the center console. Once you open that up, you have a couple of USB-C chargers in there. Left of the dash is very nice. We have some wood accents. Opening up the glove box, it's all felt lined in there, and a pretty good amount of space. It's also illuminated. And moving up top here, we have a nice frameless mirror with the garage door openers, and all the mirrors on this vehicle have the auto dimming for the night mode, so that's pretty cool. You have a couple of emergency controls up here and tap lights. Very nice. Everything up here is kind of touchscreen except for these buttons. But as you see, you just kind of tap the buttons. It's not an actual button, and they work. Very nice panoramic sunroof, and if we just swipe our finger like so, the shade will close. And once the shade's open, if you do another swipe like this, it'll open the sunroof, which is very nice. Full black headliner for this vehicle, which I think is pretty attractive look, and I'm glad they went with that. A couple of more things I'd like to point out are the sun visors. We have some lights, illumination, card holder, and they also extend over here to black lights, and also a little handy grab handle. But I think you get a pretty good idea of the features on this S90 and what kind of everything feels like, looks like. Let's get this thing out on the road. All right, so driving Volvo's big luxury sedan, the S90. So I have driven a few of these vehicles in the past, never the one with the new B6 powertrain, so this should be pretty interesting. I don't think I really have ever driven the B6 powertrain yet. Plenty of B5s, but not this one. Now, throughout this drive, we're going to kind of go to this dead end here. We'll see what the turning circle is like. Then we'll get it out onto a more of a sort of state highway. So a 2-lane highway will hopefully get up 45 to 50 miles an hour. See what it's like at those kinds of speeds. But turning circle is a pretty long car, so it's not the best, but it still does pretty good. We don't have to do a K-turn there. We just kind of make one sweep. But anyways, after the state road, we'll kind of hop onto a back road. We'll get an acceleration clip, see how fast we can get this from 25 to 60. And then we'll kind of take it around some twisty, curvy back roads. They're also very bumpy, so we'll get a good feel for the suspension, handling, things like that. Now the car is shut off as soon as I take my foot off the brake. Doesn't even use a starter, even if there is one, doesn't use it, and it's just, the engine just turns right on again very seamlessly, so that's pretty cool. Now, one thing I forgot to point out during the features portion of the video is the adjustability of the seat. So I showed you the basic functions, the things that you could see on the seat controls, but if you click up on that little tab there, it brings up more seat controls. So you can move it from customizing the lumbar. You can also get the massage to go, and you have different settings for that. You can also adjust the side bolsters and the thigh extensions on the bottom one there, so that's pretty cool. It's nice that it gives you lots of customability for the massage, because if you have a massage car, a car with massage seats, you got to do it right. You just have to. Anyways, now that we're up at 47 miles an hour, it's pretty quiet in here. You know, not supremely quiet. You get a little bit of tire noise, but it's a very smooth ride. The 19-inch tires versus the, or I should say 19-inch wheels versus the 20s that you can get optional on this car definitely make that difference. And you just have a little bit more sidewall. Now at this point, we're going to turn onto the side road and we'll test out the acceleration. So we'll get it up to 25 and see how fast we can get up to 60. Yeah, so as soon as you slap that throttle, you hear quite a bit of exhaust noise. I'm kind of impressed to hear that. And it kind of just kicks and the supercharger engages, the turbocharger starts building pressure, and it scoots along very nicely. You know, it's not fast by any means, but you have plenty of power if you were worried about this being a 4-cylinder instead of a 6 or an 8-cylinder. It probably won't compete with any of the 8-cylinder cars out there, but just know, you know, this car has plenty of power. We're working with just over 300 horsepower, so that's pretty good. The bump stiffness, as you'd expect, is definitely on the comfort side. And once you get a nice smooth road, you really don't feel the road at all. I'm not quite sure if you could see the heads-up display from this point of view, but it is displaying our current speed and the speed limit on the road that we're on. Seats are supremely comfortable as well, and so I've kind of got it all adjusted to my liking with all of the different adjustments and things like that through the screen and the buttons on the seat itself. Alright, so this is in no way a handling vehicle, but there is a pretty good corner coming up here, so we'll see how it takes it. And we're not going to go crazy here, but it's not too bad. You know, you feel a little bit of body roll and things like that you'd expect, but this is a luxury car. So again, expect things like that. This is intended to be a very comfortable car, and at this portion of the test drive is kind of the bumpiest section, so let's see how that goes. Yeah, it's handling it just fine, and this car is pretty comfortable, I have to say. Not a whole lot of noise coming in from the bumps or anything like that. You know, steering feel is just fine. It's nothing, you know, it's got the typical Volvo setup. There's not a whole lot of feel to it, but it does the job. I noticed on the T6 motors something that I haven't noticed on this, and sometimes when those cars get to be a little bit older, you could feel the sort of jolt of the supercharger engaging and disengaging. This, I haven't felt it whatsoever, so that's a very nice point of refinement there. You know, sometimes you could hear a little bit of the squeak, and then it engages and you feel it, but not so on this vehicle. So it's definitely an improvement that they made on the powertrain on this S90, and for the B series of engines that are in lots of the newer Volvos now. So like the S60, the XC60 has the B series engines. The XC90 and XC40 haven't transitioned over to them yet, but I'm assuming they might do like a 2022 and a half model year, or for 2023 they'll transition over to the mild hybrid setups. And it is very quiet in here, I have to say that. Just going over a smooth road. The noise insulation is pretty good in this car. transmission shifts very nicely too. All right, so coming back to our home base here, what are my wrap-up thoughts on the 2022 S90? Now, I really don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of these cars for the 2022 model year, just because of the chip shortages, and these are, of course, a little bit of a slower selling car as far as the rest of the Volvos go. You know, I obviously see more XC60s and 40s and S60s on the road than the S90. So this is kind of going to be a rare bird for the 22 model year. But I am super glad that we got to check this car out, because it is a very nicely appointed car and also very comfortable as well. And it's a pleasure to drive. But to wrap up, I hope you stay with us here at Ty Drives for more videos just like this one.